Got it? Yes.
Oh. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm going to be, when am I going to be 90? In a couple of weeks. Thank you. No, a couple of
To Daniel.
I'm actually Asher. Oh, we got the Asher one already.
Yes.
Oh, what, did we do Asher?
No, this was to Daniel.
Just a day.
Just like the sticker said. What did I say to Asher?
I don't remember, but you don't have to say the same thing.
That's what I'm trying not to do.
I think you did with kisses on the Ashers.
Whatever you write. You know, on the same page.
It's really
Did you tell him about Winston Churchill?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Winston
Tell
Churchill.
them about everything. We'll be here for half an hour.
She's had a 70-year career. You'd be here forever.
Oh, no. Yeah, I guess.
Yes, you have. This one's to Madeline.
Oh, she spells it the French.
Yes, she's my literature teacher.
Oh, thank you, yes. And this is Laura Jones, but you know that.
Well, Carol, it's an absolute thrill to have you with us.
Thank you, Morris. Oh, CSU is the most stimulating group of people. The students, the faculty, everything. I've got to tell you that first. Other students aren't like this that aren't exposed to the arts. But these students, their brains are stimulant. They meet me. It's an entirely different experience, and I'm very grateful for it. I have to tell you, there are other schools. They're nothing like you.
Well, let me just give you an idea of how the rest of the afternoon is going to work. I've got prepared questions for Carol. After I ask those questions, there have been about 10 students who have been selected to ask their own questions, which they will do at that point. So I'm going to lead off Carol by referring to a wonderful autobiography that she wrote, which you really want to rush to your local bookstore and buy. It's called Just Lucky, I Guess. And we often hear the phrase, it's a great read. Well, this really is a great read. And in the early pages of your book, you tell us that you first went on the stage in the 4th grade when you were called up to the stage because you were nominated to be 4th grade class secretary.
Yes, we were next year's nominations.
Right. And you write in the book that when you went on the stage that day, an electric shock went through you. And I'm wondering, as you look back on your youth, were there any signs that you were going to have this illustrious career on the stage?
Yes. What can we do? Do you want me to answer you?
Yes.
Right. After I got that was my first time on any stage in my life. And I was sitting, I was there, Bobby Schmalz, you don't know him, nominated me for secretary of the student body. So the procedure was, Morris, that you were to go down the center aisle of Commodore Sloat Grammar School. I was at, that's right, 4th grade, and went down here and up the 5 steps, and they're still there. I found out in San Francisco, and up the 5 steps, and stand there, and I had never been on a stage, and my knees were shaking, so, but everybody said, no, you had a full skirt on, we couldn't see that, and I stood there, And I thought, what'll I do? I didn't know what to do, and I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll do what I do best. I'll turn into somebody else. So I did. I turned into the principal of the school. It was a woman, Miss Berard. And I was crazy about Miss Berard because she walked interestingly, and she was apparently the forerunner of Julia Childs. Do you know who she is? You know who Julia Childs was. Well, and so I thought, I'll be Miss Berard, and you're supposed to make a speech why your fellow students should vote for you. I couldn't think of a reason, so I had Miss Berard say, go to the polls and vote for Carol. Do you think it sounds like it? Well, anyway, so I found every excuse to go in her office and stupid questions because I wanted to see how she sat, how she walked, how she breathed, and I got her exactly on the nose, and they all laughed, and it overwhelmed me. They needed to laugh. They needed the byplay with somebody to just say, that's all right, we're all going to turn out all right anyway, you know? And I thought, but then I noticed the one that laughed the most was Miss Berard. And the reason was because I found she knew there was no malice in it. She knew I was crazy about her. And I know she knew it. It came across. And I could tell. She came right back at me. It was so warm. And I could feel the students come right. I thought, I'm lifting their lives. And it's lasted all my life. I'm almost 90 years old. My job is to lift people's lives. That's what I'm here for. And few of us know that. That sounds conceited, I know, but it's the truth. I have to tell you the dead-on truth, or it won't help you at all. But you run into what you were meant to do shortly, if you didn't know already.
Well, that was a very successful performance, but you've also written that a performer can learn more from a failure than from a success.
Yes.
Would you elaborate on that a bit for us?
Sure, except I didn't finish about Miss Berard.
Please do. Oh, this is your stage.
Oh, really? All right. Oh, you're a doll. Some people... Larry King is very difficult. He knows what he wants me to say.
Well, I've only been married once.
Well, anyway, so I went home that night, and I said, Daddy, I had an experience to my father. And he was the lead. You know how girls are about their fathers, some of them, most of us. But anyway, and I was an only child, so I brought Miss Berard home with me every day in my imagination. And I served her tea, and my mother, my parents had guests for dinner now and then, and they would say, who are all those people upstairs? And and so while I was on stage, Mr. Schwartz, the chemistry teacher, he stood up and said, you have immortalized me. And I was so encouraged by that, because Mr. Schwartz blew up the chemistry class on an average of once a term, you know. And he was wonderful to do. And so I did Miss Weaver from the Bronx, and I just went through the whole faculty. And we all loved it, and they needed it. They wanted to laugh. And they knew I had no malice for any of them. It's because I adored them so. And because they were unusual. They all had strange characteristics. So that was my first lesson in comedy. If there's any malice involved, it's not funny. Isn't that interesting? And I kept it all my life. Yes, it's hard, isn't it? Even if you think you... Well, anyway, so I went home to my father and I said, Daddy, can I lay down my life right now? Lay down my life to being center stage. That's the safest place in the world to be. And Daddy said, you can lay down your life.